And welcome back to another episode of the Real Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Jacob O'Connor. Real Conversations is a podcast for those dedicated to doing hard things and building a meaningful life. We believe greatness isn't given, it's built, brick by brick, day by day. Here we share the stories and lessons meant to help you on your journey to building the best life possible. Today, I'm joined by Devon Lévesque. Devon has one of the most interesting stories I've ever shared in the podcast. He's super hard to tie down. I've been trying for about the last 3 years to get him on the episode, and finally we made it work. Little side note, he's actually driving across the U.S. right now. So he recorded this out of his van that he's driving. So if the audio seems a little bit off, I did my best to clean it up. But nonetheless, I think that his story and the lessons of it are impactful and important enough to still share. But Devon grew up in a small town. Tragedy struck when he was 16 years old. We'll talk about that in the episode. He ended up going to college and then subsequently ended up dropping out, going into the hospitality industry, learning about life through that, leaving that, going on unemployment at 25 years old, becoming a personal trainer for some of the most successful executives in the US. And then everything from there absolutely explodes into just all these different incredible avenues. He starts a supplement company, which he just sold. He becomes partners with Jesse Itzler, who is one of the owners of the Atlanta Hawks, and he sold a private jet company to Warren Buffett, and just all these other crazy people he meets and these other incredible businesses he starts. He rides his bike across America. He has summited Mount Everest. He does a backflip Mount Everest. He bear crawls a marathon. Like, he just has lived one of the most exciting lives. I think he's only like 32 years old at this point. So it's super cool to get to sit down with him and hear about his story, get to ask him some intentional questions, and just to kind of hear his take on life. I think you'll find it kind of refreshing. He's a pretty calming presence. He's super high energy. I think you'll find he has a great ability to really simplify things and not overcomplicate them. And I think in a world of complexity where we can overanalyze and overthink things, it's really refreshing to get his perspective and to hear his insight on these things. So I really enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys do too. And without further ado, let's get into it. Today, I'm super excited. I'm joined by guest Devon Lévesque, a serial entrepreneur, investor, world record holder, and honestly, probably one of the most interesting people I've ever had on the podcast. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good way to start it off.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of describes. Everyone's like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, I don't really know. I kind of just I live life for a living. I don't know. It's. I guess it's interesting.
I find it fascinating. I mean, you're literally driving across the U.S. right now. If you guys are watching the video, which I'll try and get that posted, you're literally just in your car and just pulled over, and we're doing the podcast this way. Like, this is sweet.
That's it. It's the best way to do it. Off the cuff.
I had one guest like 2 years ago. He was in Arizona. He was running across America raising money, and he also recorded on the side of the road while they were like kind of driving in tandem with it. So that's the closest thing to this type of setup I've had. And
heck yeah, I love that, man.
You've done some crazy things, from bear crawling a marathon, summiting Mount Everest, literally doing a backflip at the top of it. You just sold a big stake of your company, Promix. Like, in my opinion, you live the most exciting life possible. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't live this way. They think to themselves and they limit themselves to the idea that that's not possible for them. So I want to start off by asking, like, why are you different? Like, what led to you living this way?
You know, I had a life-changing traumatic experience when I was 16, and it opened my eyes up and into what life is and how quick it can come and go. And I think from that day on, I had the opportunity. There was no one holding me back. There was, I had the world at my disposal, as we all do. The only limitation is our mind and ourself. No one's really limiting us. They're stories that are made up. And so, when I went through that traumatic experience when I was 16, which was my dad, taking his own life. And it just changed my view on what I wanted to do. I could have gone in one direction where I stayed in New Hampshire, where I mainly grew up, doing some type of service job, working construction, going that way, or the other direction where let me go see the world. Let me go, see what I'm made of. And let me control it. If you don't control your time, then someone else will. And I'm a big believer in that. And so every second that I have, I control my time. No one controls it. Anyone. I mean, and that goes for everybody, including my family, my friends, my significant others, my business partners. I control my time. And I'm very stubborn with that. And that's what's helped me, you know? Um, I, I live by 5 values: family, health, community, freedom of time, and giving back. And I preach that. I think it's important to have 5 or so values that you believe in and that you live by. It gives you guardrails to kind of go about life and your time, and it allows you to say no or yes based on your values. And so, um, I think the traumatic experience, I think, open my eyes. I think the values and living a value-based life, um, and then just curiosity. I am so freaking curious. I'm in the middle of Colorado right now, looking over these beautiful mountains, and I mean, there's thousands of trails I'm looking at right now, and each of the trails has a different adventure. And this is just one little mountain range. You know, Now elevate that to the entire globe. You can pick your own adventure, and I'm a big believer in that. Um, Everest was one of the adventures. I wanted to see what it's like to be at the top of the world and to see what it really feels like at that altitude and meet the Nepalese people and try their food and go for 47 days on a mountain and see if I'm even capable of doing something like that. My body's in a certain situation. Same thing with the Bear Crawl Marathon. How far can you push the body before it fully, either breaks down or gives up? And what I've found is a lot of the time the body doesn't break down. It's more the brain breaks down and gives up. And so our body it's fucking capable of doing so many amazing things. And I think it goes for the same thing in business. You know, Jimmy DeSico, and I always talk about this, businesses don't fail, founders give up. There's always a way. There's always a way. So, and it's you got to stay curious. So, anyways, I think it goes to answer your question. It goes to going through the traumatic experience, open my eyes, picking what direction I want to go. I chose, the road of values and saying no and really owning my time, and then adding in a little curiosity. And that mixture has helped me, you know, try new things, meet new people, accomplish things I've wanted to accomplish, and um, allowed me to find peace in my mind. I talk about this a lot.
Hey guys, Jacob here. Real quick before we get back to the episode, I just want to take a quick second and say, if you guys are enjoying this episode, please make sure to share the link with a friend. You may have noticed I don't run any ads in the podcast. In fact, I don't make any money off the podcast. It's quite the contrary. Over the past 5 years, I've invested a lot of time, money, and effort into the growth of the show, trying to continually upgrade the equipment, bring on better guests, and just improve the overall quality of the podcast. So if you guys are enjoying this episode, or if you enjoyed previous episodes, please share the link with a friend. Sending it to 1 or 2 people makes a huge difference for me on the back end. As always, I appreciate your guys' support. Let's get back into the episode.
Marcus Aurelius has an amazing quote. Not that I'm a stoic or anything, but the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he comes to real strength. The nearer that we can come to calming this thing up here, this brain in between our ears, and not letting it go into these vicious cycles that that go down these crazy rabbit holes of work or life or career. We're not good enough, or we want to do more. These vicious cycles, the more we can calm those, you find peace in life. And you stop comparing yourself to others, and you find that you can just be yourself 100% of the time. And that's what I define success as. Not how much money you have, not how much stuff you have, not the things you've done, but rather if you can be yourself 100% of the time, even 80% of the time, 90% of the time, man, if you can find yourself there, that's the ultimate success on my chart. So anyways, that's, I think maybe that's what differentiates me.
Yeah, I love that. And I had Jordan DeSico on last week, and that was something that I asked him and admitted to him around this conversation of a calm mind. I think something that ambitious people struggle with is being able to intentionally relax and the benefit that comes from that. And I admitted to him that that's something I have a difficult time with that I'm trying to get better at. And he responded back that he was the same way, and that, there's feelings of guilt around relaxation, and that he has a difficult time finding that. So I'm curious for you, you strike me as a very calm person. You sound like you're living that type of life. Any tips for actually implementing that calmness and relaxation?
Yeah. It's okay to not be doing anything. I'm extremely, I am probably on the ambitious chart. I'm off the chart of ambitiousness. And I find, and I work at it, but I constantly am finding myself telling myself it's okay not to have anything going on. It's okay not to have calls booked. It's okay not to have, something in business going on. It's okay not to be climbing a mountain. It's okay to not be training for something. It's okay to be still. And I tell myself that quite a bit. And I just tell myself an anchor thought I use is, well, it's allowing me to think. It's allowing me to, um, rest my brain and my thoughts and my body to then go when I am ready to go after something ambitious. I'm going 100% rather than 70% or 50%. When you're doing things back to back to back to back, whether you know it or not, your brain is getting drained, your body's getting drained, your ambitiousness is getting drained, and it just feels like one big blur. Um, I find myself forcing myself a lot, especially in the last year, to just be and be still and not have anything going on. I'm on my way 2.5 hours south of Denver to just go with my dog, a fishing pole, and just go chill. And it's not necessarily vacation. It's to give my brain a rest for the next week coming up, and then and Q3, Q4 that we have, and being able to go in a leader, as a business owner, as a boyfriend, as a son, as a brother, as a friend. Um, I want to be able to go into those situations 100% versus 50%. And if I can do that, that means I'm showing up for others in the best way possible and showing up for and for myself in the best way possible. So I find it mandatory to find stillness. It's not when you get drained, you go, it's mandatory. I'm not drained right now. I am not stressed. I am good. Do I need this? Probably. I mean, maybe, probably not. I don't, it's mandatory though. It's mandatory. Are there situations weeks where I'm really stressed and I have a lot going on? I'm like, damn, I need a break. Yes. But that's not the point I wanna be at with breaks. I wanna be where breaks are mandatory to where my cortisol levels aren't skyrocketing up and down and my stress levels aren't constantly going up and down, and at a point where I can go about life and not feel like everything's spiking, but rather everything is going methodical and not chaotic. So I make it mandatory to find time to myself and just think. And you'd be in shock, Jacob, and anyone listening, if you can just find peace and quiet somewhere, even for an hour, 2 hours, if you can do it for a day, God bless you. 2 days, you're on another level of just calmness. And you'll see that a lot of issues that you thought were issues solve themselves. You'll find that thoughts in your brain, especially being off social media, being away from an email, you start to find the answers to. And you can come back into the following week a much better person and a better leader for sure.
Yeah, I think there's real value in it. It's something that I want to intentionally get better at. I know you're a big fan of a sauna and ice bath. That's two areas that I've been able to kind of detach, and it's forced me to just focus on something as simple as your breath. And I think there's real value in that too.
Heck yeah, love a good sauna cold plunge. I mean that I was talking to a flow state expert, and flow state is kind of that feeling you get when you're in the zone and time passes quickly and you're getting done and all of a sudden an hour went by and you just got all this stuff done and you just wrote that paper, wrote the email, or got some type of something done and whatever it is in life. And so, to re-enter flow state, because flow state can only happen for about 75 minutes at a time.
Hmm.
Your brain can't really go past that. But in order to re-tap into flow state, you have to do something hard, something mindless, and something like meditative. And so the hard is the cold plunge for me. The mindless is the sauna, And then the meditative is kind of the time after the sauna and the cold. And so I'll try to do a sauna and cold 2 or 3 times a day, especially if I have a busy week, um, to where I can re-tap into flow state multiple times throughout the day versus just one time and then your brain is all chaotic. And so and even if you don't have access to a sauna or cold or, a cold shower or whatever, go for a run. Um, Rinse off, sit there, go into a quiet room, a dark room, no phone for 5-10 minutes, and then go back into work. And that alone can reset you into being more productive throughout the day and making good decisions.
I love this holistic mindset, like this approach that you take with it, because like that's something that I've seen throughout the podcast and through analyzing. It's like everyone talks about working 24 hours a day to achieve the result that they're looking for. And, it's great to hear that. But when you're actually trying to execute that, it's not sustainable in the long run. And so my new focus has become like, how do you find holistic ways to do this, to increase your longevity, to be more efficient in the long run? And I think that taking an approach where you are mindful of intentional relaxation, you are doing things in that contrast therapy space, you are exercising, you're watching your diet. Like I think all of that really is going to be the long-term benefit of the person who is ambitious. It's going to allow you to achieve more in the long run too.
I agree. I think, man, I want to be doing what I'm doing right now forever, not be drained. I want to be able to show up for my kids, my grandkids, my wife, everyone, the best, and myself. I want to continue this happiness journey. And you're adding these extracurricular quick fixes to life. If you're trying to get in shape, you start doing steroids, you're going to see the issue down the road. And that goes for TRT and any of it. Like these unnatural additives to your life that you're trying to find quick fixes for, you're going to see issues in the future. That's just what it is. And so what sustainable system can you set up now that works for yourself, for your DNA, for your life, for your mind, for your lifestyle? What sustainable schedule can you implement in? And it doesn't have to be forever, right? Like we went to elementary school for 4 years, middle school for 4 years, high school for 4 years, college for 4 years. We're supposed to change. We have been meant to change. Humans are supposed to evolve. They're supposed to explore. You don't have to find the exact regimen for 25, 30. It can change, but you're constantly bettering it. You're constantly thinking about it from a long-term perspective, not a band-aid. It's these diets and these, I'm watching this whole trend of these, what do they call them? Hybrid athletes and it's like these trends that people jump on. It lasts for maybe a year, 2 years, and they find themselves injured. They find themselves stressed. They find their body, not in the same place. It's like, I don't know. I'm just not a big believer in them. I'm not a big believer in this whole. I don't know. I think mind should come first. Your mind, your brain, how you're dealing with situations and your goals, and then adding in your body and making sure that that's healthy and you have the right things in your gut and your blood is being taken care of. And then your community. How often are you calling your mom every day? How often are you calling your dad? How often are you calling your sisters, brothers, grandparents? How you're the people that raised you? How often are you staying connected? How often are you calling your friends, meeting up? Like that's longevity to me. Not not a hybrid athlete, not steroids, not. And my dad was a pro weightlifter. Not You can have these hobbies, but like longevity and like this life, it's all in one. It's how you're treating your mind, your community, your health, your happiness, your laughing, how much sun you're getting, how many animals are you being around? I think that's longevity to me. Um, I don't know. That's my hot take.
Yeah, no, I like that approach. So what I think is really cool is like one of the things we often talk about on this podcast is the concept of building. Building applies more to just business, the idea of this intentional focus to create something in your life, whatever arena you may be looking at. And I think what's cool is like, as we discuss these things that you've accomplished, these experiences that you've had, and the success that's occurred for you, like this is a consequence of you intentionally building, like we talked about in the beginning of the episode, the way you wanted to live your life, the way you structured it. This is the output of these inputs you've done for years consistently. Like, I'd love for you to take us back in this progression, like back to high school, college, or wherever you think kind of that inflection point is of, it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. You weren't always able to live on these terms. But, what did life look like back then as you progressed and are now able to live the life you are now?
When I grew up in New Hampshire and that my whole life changed at 16, I got sent to military academy, and I was in a small town. I mean, I think in the eighth grade, we had like 24 kids that graduated from my middle school. Um, and then I went to a little bit bigger of a high school. I ended up actually going to 5 different high schools, eventually graduated from Valley Forge Military Academy outside Philadelphia. And so I think what was cool about Valley Forge is it really opened my mind into the world. I mean, you have kids from all over the world, different types of families, different religions, different cultures, different ways of looking at life. And they were all living in the barracks with me. And so I could pick their brains and I could conversate. And there was kids from, the projects, that I played football with, but then there was kids from a royal family. You know what I mean? So you have all walks of life that, I was able to, be friends with and um, play sports with and go to class with, and study with. And I think that's what really opened my brain of like, wow, New Hampshire isn't that New Hampshire isn't the whole world. And so I think that was my biggest turning point. And then, I wasn't funded or, I got scholarships to play sports and go to school and whatnot for academics. And um, I had to make my own way. I had to pay my own cell phone bills. I remember at study hall, I sneak out of Valley Forge and I would go to McDonald's. I would take like $10. I'd go to McDonald's and get some McDoubles for $1 a piece. I think I'd get like 9 just because of tax and everything. And I'd go back and I'd sell them to the kid at study hall because they wanted them. And, I could get like $5 a burger. And so I would do that 4, 5, 6 times a month. And that's how I would pay my cell phone bill. And I was like, wow, I have full control of this. Like I made a service. I got the product. I did the work. I could sell it for a little bit higher. And I think that's one of the first times I realized, I can create my own business, myself. And from then on, I also looked at working and financial freedom. I realized that working by the hour, someone would be controlling my time. If you charge by the hour, that means you're billing by the hour. That means that hour is owned by someone else. I never wanted to have that. I wanted to have a service or a business where it would generate financial freedom, like it was, while you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does that entail? And I think that was a big shift in my brain as well. And then you just try shit out, I went on to manage nightclubs, own my own restaurant, get screwed over by restaurant partners, not fill rooms, in the nightclub, fill rooms in the nightclubs, have parties that worked, that didn't work, hire promoters, hire DJs, hire marketing people, hire bartenders. Like, hospitality industry opened my brain into like how you really run a business because it's a hard business. Um, there's so many moving parts. There's so many details with it. And so that added on to kind of my mindset as well. And then I found what I was passionate about. And, I love health and wellness. I love feeling good. Everyone should be able to feel good, wake up happy, healthy, know that their blood levels are correct, that they're taking products, they're eating the right food, they're working out correctly, that works for them. And I was just really passionate about it. And I'm still passionate about it, right? And you probably saw the shift in my voice, quickly as I start talking about health. I love when people feel good, and so and when I feel good, I think everyone should be able to feel good. It makes me really sad when I see people dealing with mental health, people dealing with bosses that you know that they don't like, or jobs that they hate, or it makes me sad. It really does. I think that's where my empathy comes in. And so I found passion, in the health and wellness world, and I kind of just focused on that. And I never was really looking necessarily at making billions. I was more like, okay, this is the type of lifestyle I want. Well, this is the amount of financial freedom. Financial freedom is a big stressor. I would say probably the most stressful stressor at the top of the chain for humans. And so if you can delete that out, you can really find a little bit more happiness. But that doesn't mean you need billions. If I gave you $100 million right now to anyone listening, or you like, would you really know what to do with it? Probably not. You know what I mean? And that's okay. So why does everyone want 100 million? Right? It's actually going to be more stressful having the 100 than it is now. Yeah, it might clear up some bills. Yeah, it might, you might be able to get your mom a house or something. But like at the end of the day, you're going to find happiness when you find peace with yourself and put what standards you want to live by. You know what I mean? I love my standard is being able to go to a river, go fish with my dog, with my girlfriend, and that's it. Right. And so how do I do that? Well, I create a job for myself that allows me to work remotely and for me to give my services where I could still do that every day. That doesn't mean I have to make millions or billions or whatever it is. It means I just have to find that balance. It's not the financial part. It's the standard you set your life to, right? The amount of founders I meet that are all fucking stressed out. And it's like, yo, you asked for this. You asked to start this company. You're the one that said, I want to start a business. No one said it was going to be easy. So stop bitching about it not being easy. That's just what it is. You don't want to be stressed out by business, then don't start a business, right? You should be like, pressure is a privilege. I love that quote. Pressure is a fucking privilege. Most people don't have pressure. And so I think it's a lot less complaining and it's more taking a step back, seeing what really, really fucking matters to you. What do you love to do? How do you love to spend your time? And then putting that first on your list and creating a career around that to take away the financial burden. That does not mean you need to make millions or billions, unless for you, in your mind, you're like, yo, I need the fucking mansion on the beach. I need the cars. I need the watches. I need, to do X, Y, Z. If that's it, then that's fine. But you're gonna find probably a little bit more stressors than normal. For me, I just found what makes me happy, and that's it. And I do that on a daily basis, and I don't deviate. And I know you said at the beginning, you're like, Dev, I've been trying to get you on for 3 years. It's not that I didn't want to come on the podcast. It's because I've been doing the things that I've wanted to do, the adventures, the climbing mountains, the courses, the things I love doing. That goes first on my schedule, not the work. And that's just what it is, And that's just how I live.
I love that prioritization there. I don't want to miss anything on the progression here because I think it's important for the listeners. So to recap, and then free to fill in, military academy, college, and then hospitality industry, you have a falling out. And then what do you do after the hospitality industry to get you then to the point where you're in Promix all day running, like kind of everything else?
Yeah. I started training people without a certification. There was people at the restaurant and nightclub and celebrities that would hit me up and say, yo, you're in shape. You're fun to be around. Can you train me? And I'm like, yeah, my dad was a pro weightlifter. So was my mom. I've been doing this since I was a kid, more experienced than probably any trainer out there. And yeah, I can show you kind of what's going on. I've been doing this for 20 years at this point. And I'd go in and I'd help them out. And I'd help people change their mindset and body composition and build more confidence and, and kind of just be that guy. And so that was my business. I was a trainer. That's when I met Albert and we decided to launch Promix. That was kind of the next phase. You train people, but what do they eat? And so, we launched Promix and started off with grass-fed whey protein. And, timing was good on that because we were somewhat the first to the market and the cleanest on the market. And so people like that. And then we just started to progress on products that we knew were important for us, gut health. So we launched Deep Low, launched electrolytes, just started launching vitamins, fish oil, and we just launched things that, we knew were important to us, not necessarily all the trends, the colostrum trends and the tallow trends and all these different trends that you see, but like long-term, uh, products that we physically take. I've been taking fish oil. My dad and mom were giving me fish oil since I was born. My mom was taking it when she was pregnant with myself and all my four sisters. It actually, omega-3 helps your brain develop even before you're born. If your mom takes it, it helps the baby brain develop. And so my mom been taking it since I've always wanted to launch a fish oil. So we just launched fish oil. So um, that was kind of the progression. I think in that time, I was presented opportunities to invest, in the Olipops of the world and Super Coffee and GoPuff and, all these different brands. And I mean, hundreds of people would kind of reach out with decks and products and whatever. And I would just pick and choose, what I really stood by and I believed in. I did a little due diligence. I had good people around me that gave me their insight, good lawyers, good advisors, and I would kind of pick and choose. And I would invest my own money. I'd help get some friends into the deal. And, I started my own little office essentially. Sold a couple companies in between, made some money, and then just kept reinvesting in brands and founders I believed in. But, I didn't go to college for it or financial institutes. Look, a business is very simple. You make more money than you're spending. And if you have high returning customers and something that'll last long, you got to be able to do two things with this. It has to be able to run on its own, and it has to be able to grow on its own. If you as a founder don't have those two things, then you essentially just bought yourself a job, and that's not really a healthy business, right? Promix right now, if I am fully taken out of the equation, can run on its own and grow on its own. That's how we've set it up. Same thing with Sweet Honey Farm. It's the same thing with Rythm Health. It's the same thing with All Day Running and Running Man. Like, if we're taking out the equation, it's going to run on its own and it's going to grow on its own. If you don't have those two metrics and thinking about the business, then guess what? Your customers, you're just owning your time, right? And so then you just bought yourself a job. And so I think about that very frequently when building. God forbid something does happen to me. I don't want the business to go away. I also think I'm not trying to build a nightclub. I'm trying to build a restaurant. Nightclubs go up for 3 years. They're super hot and they rebrand. Restaurants 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years long. I'm trying to build restaurants within my businesses, ones that last forever. And so again, it's not not looking for a Band-Aid, looking for a sustainable, sustainable growth. I also just find it really fascinating within the business world, like the psychology of consumers and like how they look at products and how we brand and how we, bring community together and, how are we taking care of them? How are they repeat purchasers? And so I've always found the psychology of marketing really fascinating. I read a lot of books on it, and I have a lot of kind of friends in that space. But yeah, Jacob, I wish I could give you an answer, but I don't. I got to be super clear. I don't have it all figured out. I don't know everything. I take day by day, and I'm trying to figure it out just like everyone else, and I think with the right people around me, some right timing, me staying on my 5 values and being passionate about it, you stay true to yourself. And what's helped me the most is the consistent coming back over and over again, and watching founders or businesses or ideas fall off every month, every quarter, every year. People are falling off. They're giving up. Something's not working because they're looking for a quick fix. They're looking for the quick dollar. And that's how life works. People and consumers can see that very clearly. Consumers are smarter than ever now. And so you can't just be a quick fix snake oil business. You have to, I mean, for me at least, you have to build a long-term business. So I don't know, that was kind of the progression. And, we recently sold Promix to a private equity firm, which I freaking love my partners and love the growth that we're having right now. And, the millions of people we can serve every day. It's amazing. I'm still passionate about it. I love it. It makes me so happy when people come up to me and they're like, "Yo, I take your deep load every day," or and it changed my gut health, and I'm going to the bathroom better, and my skin's a little bit more clear. And I mean, I freaking love helping people with their health. Like I said, everyone deserves to be healthy. So again, every day I'm kind of just figuring it out like everyone else, man. And think through my word and just do the right thing and put my adventures and fun first.
I would say from the outside looking in, like one of your superpowers looks like you don't overcomplicate things. Like it seems like you have a few things that you live by and you structure your life around simplicity. And I think that that's just awesome. Like I think that that's something that personally I could look and try and apply more to my own life.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. I think, yeah, man, you got to just know what you love to do and then you just fucking do it. Because if you don't, you're going to look back when you're 70 and be like, damn, I wish I did that. And then realize you don't have any time left. Yeah. And I'm getting the chills thinking about that. That is the worst possible case that you could be in right now in life. If you're sitting at your desk, walking right now, running right now, living your life, and you're thinking, man, I wish I did that, better fucking hang this podcast up and go do that because time is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
People are dying every single day, tragically, from just dropping dead, not waking up from their sleep, getting hit by a car, falling off a mountain, developing cancer. People die every single day. We're not invincible. Like it's going to happen. And so if you want to do something, better fucking do it. Time is running out. And that's just what it is. Not to scare people. That's the reality of life. And do things you love that make you happy. You know, no one gives a fuck if you're a billionaire and you die. Oh, the billionaire died. What's really gonna leave a mark is, yo, that person lived and they were happy. They lived a happy life, you know, and that's what's gonna serve you, your family, your kids, the happiness, the person that gave more, the person that was giving and gave their time to others and owned their time and did what they love. That's what I just define as a really successful human. Someone that just was themselves 100% of the time and were happy and did what they wanted to do. That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate. You lived life for a living, you know, you're not taking the money with you. You know?
Yeah.
And no one's really gonna, I mean, I don't think. Maybe I'm also 33. I don't know everything. That's just my perspective.
Man, I love your energy, Devon. And I know you got to get back on the road soon. So I've just got a couple more questions. So I start to wrap up here.
Cool.
One of the things that, I think is great with you being able to live your life in such an energetic and fun way is you surround yourself with great people. We've mentioned a couple of them already, but one of them in particular that I find interesting is, you're business partners with Jesse Itzler and you spend a lot of time with him. Like, what is it like getting to work and be surrounded with people like that?
Hell yeah. Jesse and I are very similar. He's 20 years older than me, but we're so similar in the way we think and kind of go about life. He as well puts adventure first on his calendar and his family and his health. Those are very similar, and giving back. We have very similar values, and so we respect each other's boundaries as partners. I'm not calling him at 6:00 on a Friday or 6:00 on a Sunday or any of these. If he's adventuring, I'll call him after the adventure. Shit can wait. And so it's a fresher breath air when I have partners like that, where we respect each other's time and values and how we go about things. It's also not that serious, like building a business, guys, it's not that serious. It really is not. Some of these people, man, you take it way too seriously. It's like it's taking up your whole life and your brain and impacting your family and relationships. It's like, yo, relax, deep breath. It's not that serious. So being around Jesse and seeing how he has raised his family and how he communicates and how he leads calls and, just picking up some stuff he puts down, I think is super beneficial to me selfishly. And I think he's also gets to learn from me, younger generation, and, what things are working, what things aren't. And so we're very good in that regard. And we put adventures, we do a lot of, we rode our bikes across America. We did rim to rim to rim, the 48 mile, it's 48 miles ish, across Grand Canyon and back. we just did a 10-day Finland tour. We did 25 saunas in like 7 days, 17 hours of cumulative sauna time.
Jeez.
Fun fact, Finland has about 5.5 million people, 3.5 million saunas. It's like the sauna capital of the world. So if you have any questions on sauna, let us know. We saw it all. But we put those on our calendar. So it makes it fun. You should be able to build a business and have a lot of fun doing it. And if you're not, then honestly relook at it. When I found out we were selling Promix, I was on a boat fishing, and that's not to flex. It's to prove that you can still build a business and still do what you love. I know that's my biggest accolade is it's not selling the business. I was having fun along the way, you know? But yeah, Jesse's a great business partner. He's a great friend. He's a great mentor. He helps me write speeches. He helps me with decisions, investments. I mean, he's an A+ guy. Find someone to be around that you want to live similarly by. I don't have kids yet, but I know when I do have kids, they'll be raised pretty similarly to his and the way that him and Sarah have gone about it. It's the same thing with my business partner, Albert at Promix, the way he's raising his son, little Al. I mean, it's amazing, and my other partner, Rick Steele, and I have partners in all my businesses, which I think is also really important for founders. Don't do it all yourself. Have some soundboards, de-risk yourself a little bit. Find someone that's fun to do it with. That's what makes it enjoyable. I've built businesses by myself and businesses with people. Much more fun with people, always. Way more fun, especially if you find that right partner. So highly recommend that. It's kind of the same thing with a mountain. It's a lot. I find it a lot more fun to be at the top of the mountain with someone than by yourself. And so, yeah, Jesse's great. To go back to your question.
Yeah, that mentorship piece is super important. I know that I've kind of seen that in my own life, and I know you have as well. Two more questions for you. One of them, I reached out to Jordan Zico. It's like, what is something I should ask Devon? He told me that he wants to know, what's one thing you can't live without?
One thing I can't live without. It's a good question, man. I think just my health. I really put that at the top. I don't know. Like when I tweaked my back a couple weeks ago, and all I could stop thinking about, couldn't stop thinking about, is my back.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I'm dehydrated and I have a headache, I can't stop thinking about that. My health is everything. I can't live without my health. Yeah, I think that goes first. Health. I could throw in, can't live without my girlfriend. I can't live without my dog. I can't live without my mom. At the end of the day, realistically, your health has to be at the top. For me, at least, my health, definitely my health.
Yeah, that's your quality of life. If you guys enjoyed this episode, you can find Devon on Instagram at Devon Lévesque. I'm on Instagram at Jacob O'Connor. If you enjoyed the episode, please make sure to share it with a friend. Devon, my final question for you. Looking back at this really cool journey you've been on, what advice would you offer to your 24-year-old self?
I'd tell myself to meet as many people as possible. Go to as many places as possible on whatever dollar you have. And that would be my school, to never stop learning. I think I was never good in school, and I wish I would have started traveling sooner, but I know when I didn't stop, and I still haven't stopped. And it's really helped me understand the world and give me an edge in business, life, relationships, everything, just by seeing everything that's going on, the way the monks meditate, Paul, or the way that these third world countries like Africa, are still happy, even though they don't even have a roof on their house or running water. Or so how these vineyards are ran down in Argentina, or what it looks like to be at the top of Antarctica. And, like there's so many places, and I think it's opened my brain to kind of what's possible, what's out there. And it allows me to bring a different edge of the conversations and my world. And and to others. So I would tell myself to meet as many people as possible and go as many places as possible.